The Boys, Season 5. What is happening and what is actually going on? I want to be precise about what the problem with this season is, because most of the reviews are getting it wrong. The right-wing critics have a problem with the Trump parallels. They think the show is lecturing them. That is their issue, not the show's structural problem. The show has always had a political lens. That is not why it is failing. The mainstream critics have been too soft, quotes, uneven, quote, not quite found its gear. Those are generous descriptions of something more specific and more damaging. The season is full of dead ends. Not stories developing slowly, not threads building towards something expected. Dead ends. Things introduced, given screen time, made to look significant, and then abandoned. No resolution, no consequence, no follow-through. And it starts with the show's own main character. So next I'm going to talk about the two that worked, establishing the standard. Before the autopsy, I'm going to establish the standard. Two characters this season had real arcs, properly concluded. They matter precisely because they show what the rest of the season is failing to do. So first I'm going to start with A-Train. So what was set up? 4 seasons of a man who chose celebrity and power over conscience, who ran through innocent people and also tried to outrun what that meant, who glimpsed occasionally that he could be something better and usually chose not to be. Next, I look at what was delivered. His death in episode 4 carried the weight of all 4 seasons. Not triumphant, not cheap, not tidied up. The show let him be human in his final moment. He even got the music. The show grieved him. So my verdict, arc was tick complete. This is how you close a character. Every scene in 4 seasons built to that moment. The death meant something because the life meant something. Next I'm going to talk about Firecracker and what was set up. She existed to be the villain's attack dog, a right-wing media amplifier for Homelander's narrative. Surface level, no apparent depth below the performance. So what was delivered? Episode 5 did the retroactive work. The tragedy of a woman who played a role for so long she lost herself underneath it. Valerie Curry made it land. Death by eagle statue, killed by the god she served. Verdict, arc complete mostly. The show did the character work just in time. Her death hit because the episode earned it. This is the exception, not the rule. 2 characters properly closed, but the rest of the cast? Let's go through them one by one. So I'm going to talk about the character arc Autopsy. Homelander, what was set up? The most psychologically complex villain on television. A man of unlimited power and total emotional fragility. His need to be loved was not a weakness brought down onto a monster. It was the engine of everything he did. The visions of Soldier Boy as a father figure, the beast imagery, the milk, the infant psychology of a man who was never held. That was one of the richest character portraits the show had built. But what was delivered? In season 5, the insecurity has been replaced by insanity. He did not journey to this place. He just arrived. The visions hint at a deeper psychology, but are undermined by the blanket madness layered on top. The need for Soldier Boy's approval, the one whose validation he actually craves. A father figure who might see him as worthy. It's present as a thread, but never seriously explored. Anthony Starr is still exceptional, but the writing abandoned what made that character great. So the verdict, a squandered potential. Insanity is a shortcut. The insecurity was the story. The show replaced a complex man with a simpler one and called it an escalation. So next I'm going to talk about Soldier Boy, the 180 that made no sense. So what was the setup? A man of supreme confidence, unchallenged power, zero need for validation. His arc pointed toward one question: would he kill Homelander, the thing he created, his, quotes, son, or not? The psychological dynamic was rich. Homelander desperately craving Soldier Boy's approval, Soldier Boy seeing in Homelander a weak, needy man, unworthy of him. So what was actually delivered? So for episode 6, he goes to a nuclear chamber, apparently intending to kill Homelander. He stops, feels something, but does not rescue him. Then later hands Homelander the V1 serum. Here is the problem. If Soldier Boy sees Homelander's weakness as neediness, his established psychology points towards contempt, not paternal feeling. The pivot was contrived. Jensen Ackles is brilliant, good enough to almost sell it. So my verdict, a broken arc. The character decision in episode 6 contradicts everything the show established about who Soldier Boy is. But Jensen Ackles deserved better writing. Or at minimum, when Soldier Boy was waiting in the adjacent room having a crisis of conscience, it wasn't delivered, it wasn't set up, it didn't land. The story writing was insufficient. So next I'm going to talk about Ryan, the most important character being ignored. So what was set up? The moral spine of the entire series. What does a child become when a monster raises him? Ryan has his father's powers and has grown up knowing what Homelander is. In episode 3, he confronted Homelander, attacked first, drew blood, and was beaten half to death while his father whispered, quotes, "It's okay, my sweet boy." The cycle made explicit the most important scene of the season. So what was delivered? After episode 3, recovering with Butcher, again mentioned and dropped. Peripheral to the plot for 3 further episodes. 2 episodes remain, and the show's central moral question has its answer waiting in a character being used as a footnote. So the verdict, critical dead end. Ryan is what the show is about, not the virus, not the V1, not Vought. Whether a boy beaten by his own father becomes him is the only question that matters. The show has not asked it since episode 3. So next I'm going to talk about Kimiko, the voice that said nothing. So what was set up? 4 seasons of a woman defined by her silence. Her inability to speak was not just physical, it was her character. Expressive, specific, earned over years of screen time. The decision to give her a voice in the final season was one of the boldest choices the show could make. So what was delivered? She can talk now. In 6 episodes, almost nothing consequential has come from it. The show treated giving her a voice as the destination rather than the starting point. What she says has not changed anything, moved anything, or cost anything. So the verdict, a dead end. The silence was built over 4 seasons precisely for what it could mean when it broke. The show cashed that chip and got almost nothing back. So next I'm going to talk about Black Noir, the second, the suit that did not matter. So what was set up? The original Black Noir was killed by Homelander in season 3. A replacement was introduced. The show acknowledged, almost as a joke, that the identity is the costume. Whoever inside is interchangeable, effectively is Black Noir. He was assigned to hunt Starlight, pursued only when the plot needed it, dropped when it did not. Killed in episode 6 by the Deep, strangled with a cable, finished with his own knife by a character established as an idiot and a coward. The motive for the Deep was real, but the killer had no credibility. The death carried no weight because the show had told us the character was replaceable. So the verdict? Dead end. The show spent screen time on a character it had already declared interchangeable, then killed him cheaply with the wrong person. Even the production seems to know. No ceremony, no music, no weight. And next, Butcher, the main character, as a side character. So what was set up? The emotional engine of the show since episode 1, his hatred of Homelander, his grief, his self-destruction, his complicated bond with Ryan, the son of a man he hates. He is carrying the super virus. He has a terminal clock. A man with limited time should be the urgency driving every scene. So what was delivered? 6 episodes in, a side character waiting for the plot to need him. He found Ryan after the beating in episode 3. He has been reactive since. The terminal arc, what a dying man chooses to do with the time he has not been used as the dramatic engine it was always meant to be. Carl Urban is barely present in his own show. So the verdict, wasted. The terminal clock should be the heartbeat of the season. Instead, the virus thread drifts, and Butcher drifts with it. So next I'm going to talk about Starlight. Enemy number 1, threat level 0. So what was set up? Declared an official enemy of America. Homelander has the state, Vought, and a national church behind him. This should make Annie January the most urgently hunted person on the planet. So what was delivered? Nobody has pursued her with sustained urgency across 6 episodes. Black Noir II was assigned to the hunt, but dropped it when the plot moved on. In episode 6, she loses a fight to a new soup called Oh Father and is saved by Hughie. The show declared her enemy number 1 and then largely forgot to act on it. Verdict: undermined. A threat stated but not dramatised. It's not really a threat. It is a title with no content. Next, we're going to talk about Frenchie, Mother's Milk and Hughie, the boys who are not in their own show. So what was set up? 3 of the main cast, fan favourites. Frenchie and Kimiko's bond has been one of the show's most consistent emotional threads. Mother's Milk has been the moral anchor, the voice of restraint, the person with the most to lose. Hughie has been on a 4-season journey towards agency. So what was delivered? All 3 have been peripheral across 6 episodes. Episode 7 is titled after Frenchie and Kimiko and Mother's Milk, which is the show acknowledging in its scheduling that it parked them and is now attempting their correction with 1 episode left after it. That is not character development. That is probably a goodbye. So the verdict: dead end, too late to fix. 6 episodes of the final season and the boys are not the story in their own show. So next I'm going to talk about Stan Edgar, the door that opened and closed. So what was set up? One of the most compelling antagonists the show has produced. The man behind Vort's real power. His return in the final season signalled unfinished business. A thread perhaps worth following. But what was delivered? He was brought back. He disappeared. No meaningful contribution to the season's plot. No closure on his arc. Just present, then gone. So the verdict: they forgot. He's forgotten. Not even a dead end. A door that opened, showed nothing behind it, and closed again. So next I'm going to talk about filler dressed as story. Beyond the characters, the season has been filling time with things that look like story but are not. Each one trades screen time that belongs to existing threads for incidents that go absolutely nowhere. So first I'm going to talk about the device. The head popper resurfaces from the mental ward. So what it pretends to be: a returning character from earlier seasons, the show closing old threads. Continuity. What it actually is: he reestablishes that he is still crazy, which we already knew. He advances nothing. He is ticked off a list and discarded. This is not a closing thread. It is continuity performance. Next I'm going to talk about the Speedy Soup, the V1 hunt sequence. So what it pretends to be: an action sequence with stakes, a new obstacle in the search for V1. But what it actually is: a splatter gag. A new soup who kills people by running into them by accident. Dark comedy, I guess. Goes nowhere. Adds nothing to any arc. Random incident dressed as a plot. So next I'm going to talk about the V1 virus thread in itself. What it pretends to be: the season's structural engine. The MacGuffin both sides are hunting high stakes. But what it actually is: it appears to storyline, it disappears, it reappears without any sustained urgency. Homelander got it anyway. The virus cannot kill the main characters because old characters have been brought back specifically to be killed off in front of us. The device undermined itself. Next I'm going to talk about Homelander as a messiah, the Democratic Church of America. So what it pretends to be: a society reorganizing around a man who declared himself as God. The show's satire at its most pointed. So what it actually is: present as a backdrop, never central, never fully explored. What does it mean for ordinary people when the most powerful man demands to be worshipped? We don't know. The show gestures at the question and moves on. Next I'm going to talk about what happened to this show. This is a partial answer in something Eric Kripke said in interviews. Season 5 was written before the 2024 US election. He intended it as a warning about creeping authoritarianism. He hoped viewers would think they had dodged a bullet. Instead, he says, the country got hit by the bullet. That explains something about the satire feeling descriptive rather than prophetic. It does not explain the character arc failures. The honest explanation is harder to say, but it is visible in the work. The Boys Season 5 is a show that stopped knowing what it was about. A-Train got sad music. A-Train got a 4-season payoff. A-Train got grief. Everything else was rushed, contracted, minimally emotionally involved. Characters dying without roots in what the season established as its story. Because there is no clear story. The show looks like a different episode on every page of a comic. The continuity is only that we recognise the characters, or thought that we did. Think about what the season needed to be about and what was not. Was it about stopping Homelander? Loosely, yeah. But the V1 thread drifted. Homelander injected it in episode 6, and now he is beyond the reach anyway. That thread is over. He's won. Was it about Homelander's psychology, the insecurity, the need for a father, the infant terror underneath the invincibility? It should have been. That was the richest material available, but instead the show replaced his complexity with insanity and called it character progression. Was it about the soldier boy dynamic, what it means for Homelander to finally have someone whose approval he craves, and for that someone to see through him? It was hinted at. Then Soldier Boy handed him supreme power in episode 6 through a pivot that makes no psychological sense for either character. Was it about Ryan? Should have been. But he has been sidelined since episode 3, so what was it about? 6 episodes in, the honest answer is filler and doors. Characters introduced to be closed. Old characters resurfaced to be killed off quickly. Dead ends disguised as threads. A show in a hurry to be over that forgot somewhere in the process to write the story it was in a hurry to finish. The comic book where every page is a different episode and the only continuity is that we know these people. So next we're going to talk about 2 episodes left. Okay, so what the 2 episodes cannot fix. Homelander's arc. The insecurity was the story. 6 episodes of blanket insanity cannot be walked back. But what the 2 episodes can still do? Ryan, one properly written scene, a boy choosing not to become his father. That can be the moral conclusion of 5 seasons. It is the only thing the finale must do, hopefully. Next I'll talk about the Soldier Boy's logic. The episode 6 pivot was wrong for the character. That is in the record. But what the final 2 episodes can still do? Butcher. 2 episodes of a dying man making his last choices can still land if the writing commits to what his death means. Next I'll talk about 6 episodes of Frenchie, Mother's Milk and Kimiko being peripheral. Episode 7 is named after them. That is likely a goodbye, not a correction. So what the final 2 episodes can still do? Homelander's end. Anthony Starr has built something extraordinary. The finale can still give it a conclusion worthy of the performance, even if the season failed the psychology. Next I'm going to talk about the virus thread. Homelander now has V1. It is over. 6 episodes of MacGuffin amounted to the villain getting what he wanted. So what the final 2 episodes can still do? Give us a surprise. The show at its best was always one step ahead. 2 episodes remain. It is not impossible to land something nobody saw coming if the writing finds the nerve. So in conclusion, The Boys at its best was one of the most intelligent things on television. Not because of the gore, not because of the politics, because it understood the most dangerous thing in the world is not a man with unlimited power. It is a man with unlimited power who needs to be loved. That is what Homelander was. That is what made him terrifying in a way that no amount of laser eyes or crowd killings could match. The insecurity was the story. Season 5 replaced it with insanity, closed its characters through doors rather than arcs, and forgot what it was about long enough to fill 6 episodes with things that went absolutely nowhere. A-Train got the send-off he earned. He even got the music. Everything else got rush. 2 episodes remain. The finale is called Blood and Bone. There is still time to answer the only question that ever mattered. What does Ryan choose? If this video made you think, please like and subscribe. The full verdict will be given after the finale on the 20th of May. Thank you.